pledge.
Good evening, everyone. Before we do our elections for board president and vice president, I'm going to open the meeting and ask Mrs. Callahan to take the roll call.
Certainly. Mrs. Sloan? Here. Mr. Hohauser? Here. Mr. Bear? Here. Mr. Greenstein? Here. Mrs. Johnson? Here. Mr. McDermott? Okay. And Mrs. Nadolny? Thank you.
Okay, the first order of business is to have our newly elected board members, Mrs. Sloan and Mrs. Nadolny, be sworn in. Congratulations. Okay, I'm going to call for the nomination for President of the Board of Education for the 2013-2014 school year. Mr. Bear?
I'd like to nominate Karen Sloan as the President of the Board. She's done, at least from my seat, a marvelous job in leading us through lots of intricate years here, and I think we'll do well to have her as president again.
Any other nominations? Oh, Mr. Hohauser, second. Call the vote.
I'm thirding it.
All in favor? 6-0.
Do I take over now?
Yes.
Thank you. I would just like to take a moment to say thank you to my colleagues on the board, and congratulations to Chris Nadolny, and welcome. And it has been my honor and privilege to serve as president for 4 years, but this past year has been so exciting and showed this district all the things that we can do, and I'm really looking forward to another year. So thank you for your trust and faith in me, and I hope I don't let anybody down. And now, do I have to swear again?
I don't know if you choose to nominate, have the nominations for vice president, and then perhaps you could do those two together. That's your choice.
I would like to open the floor for nominations for vice president of the board, and I personally am going to make the nomination for Mr. Hohauser as vice president. Is there a second? Mr. Bear? Any other nominations? All in favor? 6-0. Thank you. Should we swear now? I'd like to make a motion for the adoption of the reorganizational agenda. Do I have a second? Mr. Hohauser, all in favor? 6-0. And call to order. Administration and the superintendent. Okay. We will now have the superintendent take the oath of office.
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the Office of Superintendent at the Port Washington Union Free School District, Town of North Hempstead, Nassau County, Port Washington, New York, according to the best of my ability.
Okay, and now I will make a motion for items 9 through 58. Do I have a second? Mrs. Johnson, all in favor? 6-0. Okay, thank you. Now we can pause while we are reorganized and move to the agenda for the regular meeting. Goodbye to my husband. So then I will make a motion for the adoption of the agenda, July 1st, 2013. Mr. Hohauser, second. All in favor? 6-0. Okay, thank you. And at this time, we will open the floor for student and community comments. I'd just like to remind everyone that we do need you to identify yourself for the record, and there is a 3-minute limit that Mrs. Callahan keeps track of. Anybody?
Yes, hi, members of the board. My name is Steve Moser. I represent America Leone, who's scheduled to be terminated today by 15A on the agenda. And what I wanted to inform the board of, in terms of things that they may not know about this particular case, as you may know, it is alleged that Ms. Leone misreported her hours and that she owes back
Excuse me? I do believe that specific personnel matters are executive session material and not matters of public information. I don't know that this conversation should be continued. That's up to the board's discretion.
Mine. Oh, I'm sorry. That is true. We don't.
Well, I'm
discuss-
gonna finish what I came here to say, and then the board can do whatever it chooses. The Miss Leone, the school is well aware that Miss Leone has not taken her lunch for the past 6 years. The school is well aware and is aware at the time that they terminated her that she is owed approximately $40,000 in overtime. I said that specifically to Ms. Fennick before she recommended the dismissal of Miss Leone. So the action of the school with regard to the termination is wholly improper. The school is saying that somehow an employee who has worked over 1,000 hours and has not been compensated for those hours in the space of 6 years has stolen money from the school by misreporting hours. I look back at the records. Every week in which it is alleged that she stole hours from the school, she worked more hours than she was paid for. And I think it's wholly improper to terminate an employee when they're working more hours than they were paid for. It's wholly improper also for the superintendent, who has a pending grievance against him, to participate in the disciplinary proceedings, knowing that there's a scheduled grievance that's to be before the Public Employee Relations Board on the 24th of this month against him by Ms. Leone. And that's all I have to say about it. I know that the board will rule as it may, but I feel it's retaliatory and that the board is not acting with full information regarding what happened at the June 19th conference. Because in that particular conference, the attorney for the school asked Ms. Leone if she regularly takes her lunch hour. which is automatically deducted from her pay. She said no, and the school decided to, yet without any basis, terminate her. Thank you.
Are there any other community comments at this time? Okay, then we will move on to... Is there? Oh, okay.
Good evening. We're from the Port Washington, Manhasset chapter of Cancer Care. My name is Barbara Faticone. I'm past president, and Dom, also a past president, and we're part of the Red Stocking Review Committee. And we're here tonight because we're very upset. We've used these facilities since 1971 for our Red Stocking Review. And this past year, our rental for this facility, which has been fabulous for us, was $1,580 increase. And this is impacting all of our fundraising that goes directly to cancer patients and their families. And we just would like to know what's in store for us in the next year, because if it keeps going up like this, we have to move on or move to another facility in another town, because there's nothing left in Port Washington for us that's big enough. And we're very concerned about this because it's really hurting our organization. And we try so hard to raise money for fundraising. And this is our biggest fundraising event. And this it involves all of, we have children from the school. 90% of our cast is from Port Washington. And there's children, teens from the school district, and seniors, and all the parents, grandparents. And this is a very sad thing if we have to move out of Port Washington, because this is the town we love so much. Ann, you want to say anything quick before our time is up? No. Okay. We'd like to thank you so much for listening to us, and we hope there's a light in the tunnel someplace. Thank you.
Are there any other comments at this time? Okay, then I will move to my opening statement. I just want to say briefly, we have a longstanding policy that we cannot enter into dialogue with members of the community that come to comment. But coincidentally, I did want to mention something this evening about the facilities policy. It is a new policy, and it was put in place last year because we had to start covering some of our costs. We couldn't be paying expenses over and above our school curriculum and our school day for outside organizations in the community. It was not meant to be a source of onerous expenses to organizations, particularly not-for-profits. So it's been very helpful to us this year in upkeeping our fields and our gym space, and I know Mr. Baer could speak to this much better, but to say briefly, there are some kinks we're still working out in the policy, and we hope to iron out all these issues. So we appreciate community members bearing with us while we do that, and where we can, we certainly don't want to cause these burdens to organizations that have been with us and served such wonderful needs to our community for such a long time. So coincidentally, I just wanted to say that. And I think we can move on now. I will turn it over to the superintendent.
Thank you, Mrs. Sloan. I just wanted to say that we had an excellent ending of school. Our graduations all went off really, really well. And even though we had some challenges with the weather earlier in this school year, we were certainly rewarded with some beautiful weather and some very enjoyable moving up and graduation ceremonies. And I want to offer my congratulations to all of our students who participated in those events and the staff as well. And thank the Board of Education also. I'm going to briefly turn it over to Ms. Fennick for the enrollment report.
Good evening. The kindergarten enrollment as of June 29th is the 392. We have 392 children registered. Our projected enrollment was 376, so we'll be looking at that. And student enrollment, this is in June. Our student enrollment was 5,289 students.
Thank you. I know that some of our surrounding districts truly are experiencing a declining enrollment. We do not seem to be seeing that, and we are adjusting accordingly to make sure that, we meet the needs of our students. So we'll continue to watch our kindergarten enrollments in particular closely throughout the summer. Thank you.
I'll make a motion for the approval of the minutes, June 11th, 2013. Do I have a second? Mrs. Johnson, all in favor? 6-0. We have no discussion item this evening, and the committees will not have anything to report this evening, though you will see later in the agenda. We are confirming the committees. Oh, wait, nope. Mr. Bear.
One thing Mary wanted to update on the facilities with the roof.
Oh, okay. Mrs. Callahan is going to give an update on one of the committees, but you will see later that we will be instating the committees, and those committees will be planning meetings, and they will be posted on the website because that will occur before the next meeting. Mrs. Callahan?
Our 3 roofing contractors have provided us with all their insurance. We have signed contracts now in place, which allows work to begin. I believe that the shingles have actually been delivered for the Weber Middle School, so all we're hoping for is for some sunny skies so that some of the demolition work can begin. I do have a 2-week work report, and will continue to get such from our construction manager for each of the 3 contractors, even though one contractor is doing 2 roofs. So we are proceeding, and we have not run into any glitches as yet, and we believe that we are still on target. Of course, weather will be a concern if we wind up having a wet summer, but we all have our fingers crossed. I don't know if anybody has any specific questions. No? Okay, great.
Mrs. Mooney, Dr. Mooney? I think you had something to add.
I just, Mrs. Callahan, as she was speaking, reminded me we have 19 of our smart boards have already been installed, and we're looking to complete the remainder of the project, and we are on track, so that should happen before school opens. I also just briefly wanted to introduce and welcome Dr. Wafa Westervelt, our new Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment. She's up here on the dais. And Mr. Ryan Maloney, who's in the audience tonight, our new Director of Technology. Today is their first day of work, so welcome.
Okay, I am going to move to the action items. I will make a motion for item A1 through D22. Do I have a second? Mrs. Johnson, all in favor? 6-0, thank you. I would like to make a special thank you to the National Mentoring Partnership, Peter and Jerry DeJana Family Foundation, the Guggenheim HSA, and the Athletic Association of Port Washington for their great generosity to the school district. And now I will move, we have to make a change, I think. Mr. Hoheiser just pointed out to me the sunset clause on the establishment of the legislative task force is 2013. I believe that's supposed to be 2014.
Number 2, Mary.
11-2.
We can change that. I think, I see that they noted it for the 12-13 school year with the sunset clause of June 13, so we'll change that to 13-14. Thank you.
So I will now make a motion for item 11, 1 through 4. Do I have a second? Mr. Ohauser, all in favor? 6-0. Any old business? New business? Anybody else want to talk to us? Okay, we're adjourned, and let this be a sign of what the year is to come.
want to wish everyone a happy and safe 4th of July. Have a great night.